What's up, college football fans? Welcome to another QB Spotlight interview. We got App State quarterback Brady McBride. I'm Stephen Hamner. We got a super special guest on today, former Middle Tennessee State and Sacramento State quarterback Asher O'Hara. He's been someone that I've watched for several years. I know Brady was able to watch him as well whenever he's not playing. But a true dual threat quarterback who can do it all. Put up bonkers numbers at Middle Tennessee State. Big numbers at Sacramento State. He had 31 total touchdowns this year and 0 interceptions at one of the best FCS programs in the nation. So we had a fun time talking with him and just kind of chopping it up with him. And I'm super excited for y'all to listen to him. But before we get into that, Brady, what was kind of some takeaways and stuff you enjoyed from talking to Asher?
Yeah, I mean, just based off listening to him in that interview, it's the first time I met him. Very peaceful dude. Like, you hear him speak, it's almost soothing. He's got a lot of self-confidence about himself, and you can tell he's a mature guy. So listening from him and the JUCO route in Middle Tennessee, and then going to FCS to play at Sac State, one of the great programs there. So, I mean, a lot of insight coming from him, and I enjoyed. Yeah,
it was cool, and it's a good just like everyone we've had on, right? Just find a way, like keep chugging, you know. And I liked how Asher said, like, bet on yourself, and so. You know, he's got some opportunities that will come up, and so he's going to keep chugging along. But we get into that in the interview. We get some really cool stories, and just like always, we just talk quarterbacks. So before we get in the interview, if you haven't watched this channel or listened to the podcast before, we put out quarterback content every week, interviews like this, film breakdowns, as long as it's related to the quarterback position. It's fair game here. So with that said, like, subscribe, all that YouTube stuff. Let's get into what's up, guys. Super excited to welcome Asher O'Hara, a quarterback that we've kept up with at QB Spotlight for a while. So we're super excited to have him on, dive into his journey, someone that we've been able to keep up with and hear what he's got going on now. But Asher, before I give you the mic and before I want you to kind of tell your story, how often do you train jumping over like 6-foot defenders into the end zone for a touchdown? Like, is that just something you just do every day, or what?
Definitely not. I don't train it. I know where it all started. I went to junior college and I wanted to stand out a little bit. So I always thought hurdling was so cool. I didn't know if I could do it or not, but I said this game, I'm going to try it. And I had a highlight where I jumped over a guy and it worked. And then ever since, it just kind of happened in games. I never predetermine it, so I don't practice it much other than just lifting in the weight room, I guess, for the hops. But yeah, it just happens.
I mean, it truly seems like every game, like someone's like posting a highlight of you jumping from the 5-yard line on top of a person and then getting carried into the end zone or something. I remember, like, for Middle Tennessee doing it, Sac State doing it. I think one of your first times it like went national was against Michigan, maybe 2018 or 2019, maybe, when y'all did it. But do you know how many times off the top of your head, like, you actually had a touchdown where you like flew into the end zone like that? Over or under 12?
Over.
Okay.
This year, above 12 alone, I would say.
Wow.
Yeah. I kind of found it, like, if I'm on the ground pushing my feet, like, I'll probably lose the battle against a D lineman. But if I'm in the air, like, it's so hard to take someone's momentum in the air and then pull them backwards. So I just found, like, jumping on my lineman's back would get me more yards than not. And it just kept going like that.
Yeah, well, Brady, have you tried that? Have you jumped?
We need to see one, Brady, this next
I tried versus BYU one time. Or no, Boston College. And I literally, like, it was a corner. I was running around, and there was a linebacker. You know how you get to the sideline, and you know people are just running full speed. And so I get over the corner, and then there's a big old 55 linebacker just smacked me, like, mid. There's a picture of it. Like,
wow.
I would love to see that.
Yeah. Well, you know what I'm gonna put in this video, Brady. I'm gonna put a video of Asher diving into for a touchdown. We gotta find that video of you too.
Do like a good example and a bad example, because I get absolutely depleted in mine, and I shake it off, act like I'm good, but inside I'm like, wow.
Yeah,
I'm seeing stars.
Asher, have you been blown up at all at the line of scrimmage doing, or at the end zone doing that?
Yeah. Totally. It's not always pretty.
Yeah. Well, I always loved it, dude. I'd always try to get a retweet whenever I'd see that happen. But with that aside, dude, I do want to just kind of like go ahead and dive right into it. So for those that are watching, like we talked about at the beginning of the show, you start off at JUCO, then went to Middle Tennessee State, then went to Sacramento State. That's correct, right? So you went to a few different schools, and you always were battling, had to prove people. And then once you got your opportunity, you know, you proved the people right who believed in you. If that makes sense. But I want to give you like 5, 6, however many minutes you want to, and just take us through your football journey from high school to JUCO to Middle Tennessee and then to Sacramento State. And then from there, we'll kind of dive into the weeds a little bit, but just like a 5, 6 minute overview of your football journey.
Yeah. So dating back to high school, I've always been a dual threat quarterback. So those positions, my stature is not ideal for it. I mean, I'm 6 foot, about 185. I was in high school. I'm a little heavier now. But the dual threat guys that were big at the time are like Cam Newton, Lamar Jackson. They're either really big or so fast, and I was neither of those things. So I'm from Rolling Meadows or Arlington Heights, northwest suburb of Chicago. The football is competitive there, but the recruiting and stuff is not really. It's more private schools in Illinois, and I was at a public. So I just kept playing my game. High school, I did great, about 31 touchdowns, 4 picks junior year, and then 31 touchdowns, 2 picks senior year. I had good stats. I had a lot of good highlights. I just didn't get much love. I had a walk-on opportunity at Southern Illinois from Coach Nick Hill, who's awesome. I like Coach Hill. I decided not to take it, though. I wanted to bet on myself. My older brother, Devin, he went to high school nearby. He was all-state. He's 6'5", faster than me. He had all the physical attributes that I didn't. He ended up going JUCO, and from there went to North Texas. So I saw that he laid a blueprint for me where you could go to junior college and bet on yourself, get a scholarship, and try and go somewhere from there. And so I did that. I had 1 season there. I'm not sure my stats. I know my completion percentage was around 74, which is good. So that helped me a lot. And I just was emailing and following coaches on Twitter a bunch. My brother and dad told me that's the best way to do it because, I mean, you're not going to find their numbers, as we all know. You can't get in contact easily with coaches. So I emailed Coach Tony Franklin, who's legendary, Coach Jared Goff, and he got back to me, invited me out to throw around with their receivers privately, have my own workout, and we took it, left the next day, went over there, and we just had a little session. My dad was up there in the bleachers, the only one watching, and I just was trying to learn all their plays and their footwork real quick because Coach Franklin, the footwork is like pitter patter. It's not hopping. It's not just dropping back. Your feet are always like a typewriter. So it's completely new to me. And basically the reason I got the offer is because I picked up on it so fast. I bought into it and tried my best, and I threw pretty accurate that day. And also a testament to Brent Stock still. He was the center for me, snapping that ball, telling me the routes. He was like quietly helping me so I could perform and not be so in my head about it. So he helped me all day. I did great. They offered me. I didn't think about it, just took it. Go out to Tennessee. I've never been there before. About 30 minutes from Nashville. Definite culture shock with the boot, country accents and whatnot. But I got a year to learn under Brent Stock still and Coach Stock still. Coach Franklin, learned the offense, just practice my footwork and whatnot. And then that year, Brent had... Do you want me to go into about that or?
Yeah. You just roll in. Yep.
So I played maybe 2 games, garbage minutes, just running and throwing a little bit. And then against Florida International, we were still in the title fight. We were doing pretty good. And he got injured, his high ankle sprain, like 3rd quarter. So I get in there, I'm rusty. And for me, feeling comfort in a game is most people, like obviously getting tackled. You're like, all right, the nerves are gone. but I like to have a positive run play where I gain at least 5 yards and I move the stick. Something like that just gives me that confidence. And I did have that. So I was in the groove. I was throwing well. I was reading the defense. It wasn't too fast for me. And so everything was great. And then on the last possession, we're driving down the field. There's about 40 seconds left. And I have a post route from my right slot receiver I know might be money. So I'm dropping back, and there's just one high safety. I'm looking at him, and I just didn't look him off enough, and it helped me so much this moment. Didn't look him off enough, and he made the interception, lost the game. But it was such a good moment for me to learn from and understand you can't have these Cinderella stories always. It's not going to go perfectly. And so after that, I knew Brent was done that year, just kept learning, and competed the following season with Chase Cunningham, who's a great quarterback. We pushed each other all the time and got a lot better from each other. And so I got the starting job there, and first start was against Michigan. That was under 15,000 people there, like so loud. I couldn't hear myself scream and yell, and cadence was a problem. And we actually made him fumble Shea Patterson the first drive. We got it on their, 40 or so, drove it down, and I scored on a offside free play. And so that was just an amazing moment in my career to show I could do it on the biggest stage. And I had about 36 family and friends there. So that was like just such a nice start to my career. Finished the year, did great. We didn't win too many games. We had like a 5-7 record or so both years I was there, which stunk, but I did my best. I mean, I heard from the fans that I'm amazing. I heard that I'm not good enough to make us win games. I've heard it all. So I just learned. And then Coach Franklin was leaving there that after my sophomore season, that is. So I knew I had 2 years left because we played the COVID year. It was a free year. We only played about 8 games, and he was leaving after that. So I just wanted to leave as well because he had my back in that program. I really appreciated him, and he believed in me when others didn't sometimes. So I just always appreciated it, and I just took it as a moment to leave. And he knew Coach Troy Taylor at Sac State, and I had never heard of Sacramento State or the football out west really much other than UCLA, USC. And so I just hopped on some Zoom calls with Coach Taylor for 2 or 3 calls with my dad just to get a feel on it and how it happened. I had some other interests from like UMass and Connecticut, and I just wasn't in love with either. And so I told him about my brother, who at the time was in junior college, the same one I went to and the same one my oldest brother went to. And I asked him if they could look at his film, see if they could take him for a walk-on. And he called me back like 20 minutes later, 10:30 p.m., and said, we'll offer him as well. So He just committed right away. They loved how he played. He's a nickelback on defense. So that was really like just such a fun experience these past 2 seasons, living with him. He lived with my fiance and my son and I, and we just had such a fun 2 years. And yeah, we won the Big Sky Championship both years. Playoffs went better this year. Lost to UIW 66-63. So that was my year.
Wow. Go ahead, Asher.
No, that's it right now. That's it.
Yeah, so just to recap, start off out of JUCO, and then we went to Middle Tennessee State 3 years, and then finish with Sac State for 2. And so you talked about your first game starting against Michigan. I want to talk about that season a little bit because I don't think people realize that the type of numbers you put up. You had, I don't know the exact numbers, but over 2,700 yards passing, over 1,000 yards rushing. Probably 30-ish touchdowns if you combine passing and rushing touchdowns. So you blew up, right? Now, maybe people that didn't keep up with a lot of college football, maybe they didn't hear of Asher O'Hare or Middle Tennessee State, but anyone that watched Conference USA or anyone that like watched a decent amount of football was going to know of that. So did you expect that to have that success kind of right off the bat? Were you like, wow, I'm pretty damn good? Or you like, yeah, like I just need the opportunity. I knew this was gonna kind of come to fruition. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's a good question. I I never thought I couldn't get there, so I
Yeah.
wasn't surprised when I was. I just kind of, it was just, I was feeling out Conference USA, and like you're seeing in the media, it's all about Jalen Hurts. And I remember one ESPN segment, there was like a cut image or something with him and me showing our dual threats, number 1 and 2 in the nation with rushing yards and passing yards. So like that was the first moment when I'm like, oh, okay, I'm up there with Jalen Hurts about our stats and stuff. This is pretty cool. But like I was just playing week to week, trying to win. I never care about stats really. I don't really remember them too much unless it's like the season before. Like I remember this season a lot because it's so fresh. But that was a refresher for me. I didn't realize 2,600 and 1,000 rushing. That is pretty crazy. So that was a fun season for me.
And then the next season was, I believe, the COVID season, and then after that, of course, Sac State. So,
yeah,
what were some of your standout moments? Because we have a lot of like Conference USA fans that will be listening and watching this. But what were some of your standout moments? Moments. Excuse me, I can't talk. That's what happens when you get old and have kids, Brady. But what stood out to you in Conference USA? Like, what were some of like your favorite stadiums to play at? Who were like some of the hardest hitting teams? Like, do you have a few like games or plays that stood out? You're just like, for whatever reason, good, bad, that you kind of remember?
Yeah, that's definitely a few standouts. The Western Kentucky rivalry was huge, so that was like a really big game always. And their D-line was phenomenal. They got, I forget his name, Malone. Debo Malone, I believe. He's in the NFL now. He was such a beast on defense. I had to be watching him. Like, I'm dropping back, just looking over here every single play because he was so good. So I remember those games a lot. They hit really hard. And then the Marshall game, like the first year we play them and beat them at our place. Yeah, we beat them there. We go to Marshall the next year. They're ranked like 24th. We're like, oh my God, these guys are filthy. They have Grant Wells, who was phenomenal that year. And like that was such a wake-up call where now I don't even think they're in the CUSA anymore, right?
They're with you, Brady, right?
Yeah, they're in the Sun Belt.
Like you could tell like they could easily move up or move out of this division. So that game was like a wake-up call for sure. And then the last one that I remember well was the UTSA game at the Alamodome with Frank Harris at QB. I'm really cool with him. He is phenomenal, and we just battled back and forth. Super cool stadium there, and they were ranked last season. This was a couple years back, but you could tell they had so much potential. It was fun football. I loved playing Florida International and Florida Atlantic. It was just a fun conference. I mean, now it's like it's not the same to me. I mean, that's the one I knew, but I got to get familiar with all these new teams. I feel like it's so shuffled.
Yeah, CUSA has like Sam Houston State now, Jacksonville State, Liberty. Yeah. Like, I'm gonna have to like do a refresher before the season starts to just remember. But Asher, I do remember that game against UTSA. I think it was a Friday night game. It was in the Alamodome. Yeah. I told another guest this recently, but I had the over in that game. So thank you, Asher, for putting up some points, as always. But before we transition to Sac State, because I want to get into that, we talked about Brent Stock a little bit outside before we started the interview. And Brady, I don't know if you know Brent Stock. He's a legend at Middle Tennessee State, put up huge numbers. And he's been retired, or he stopped playing a few years ago. But you told me a little bit about how he kind of helped mentor you and just kind of pour into you. Can you expand on that just a little bit, just for some Conference USA fans?
Yeah, Brent. I mean, if you were a Conference USA fan, you know of him. I'm sure he's beat your favorite team once or twice. And that year, I just got to follow him. This is my first time at Division I football, seeing what you need to do to be a good quarterback. And he was just always the hardest worker, and then so personable as a person outside the field, just making jokes. Like, humor to me is so crucial, especially in a quarterback room. No one likes a quarterback room that can't make fun of someone because you get your feelings hurt. So he kind of helped lay down that for the following years, even though I'd competed with Chase, like we were super chill because we'd always laughed that year before. We had great memories. We built a connection. So something Brent showed me there was obviously the hard work factor, and then just being cool with people outside of that, which I would have done naturally, I'd like to think, but it just shows like you don't want to think your socks don't stink. I don't know if you swear on this or not, but
hey, bring it. This is we're
you want to think your shit doesn't stink as a quarterback. It never goes well that way. So yeah, I mean, amazing warrior. I've seen him play through disgusting injuries. He'll just go in at halftime, and I'm like, all right, I'm ready to go. And he's like, yeah, I'm playing. I'm like, I figured you were. That's why at Florida International, I've already seen him play through the craziest things. So I'm like, he'll be fine on the ankle. But he told me, like, this is it. You're going in.
Yeah. That's awesome.
We also played App State at the New Orleans Bowl that year, and that was like seeing another level. Like App State's defense, their DBs were just phenomenal. We did not do too hot that game. I didn't play in it, but
I didn't either. I didn't either.
Yeah, they're still pretty good. Brady gets to practice against them.
Yeah, that's so nice. I bet you're getting way better.
I am getting way better. I feel like they help me out a lot with that.
You have no choice. Playing against people all day long, especially good DBs, that's so helpful.
Yeah, you can kind of like feed off each other. Like I know I do it with the linebacker Andrew Parker as well, just like tendencies and just helping each other getting better.
Yeah, I agree.
Man, so Asher, so great career at Middle Tennessee, and then transferred to Sacramento State. So take us through that a little bit. If you can get as detailed as you want or as broad as you want. Just like what went into that decision. I know you mentioned your OC left, and so you wanted to just kind of look for a different opportunity, and then talk about your time at Sacramento State, because most people, once they get to the FBS level, they don't want to go down to the FCS level. You know what I mean? Like, and you had other FBS offers to go play from UMass and UConn, or they were interested, you said. And so, one, I think that's really cool and shows like this humility in you, just like, yeah, I want to go play ball, and it fits me. Like people get caught up in everything else, and I know your brother was a big factor too. But just kind of dive into that a little bit and talk about some of your favorite times there, because there's some y'all are damn good, right? Y'all almost made it all the way, and y'all were top, however, ranked in the top 5 this year, right? Something like that. So
yeah, we were two for a couple weeks, and then
So just take us through that, man.
Yeah. So I talked about why I kind of went there because Coach Franklin was leaving, but once I got there, I guess I could talk about it was June already. So because I had to finish graduating from Middle Tennessee, I couldn't go there yet. My credits didn't transfer or something like that. So I finished, but my brother actually went for the spring. So he's there in January. I visit to get him settled in, moved into a house and stuff, and just got a feel of like where I'm going to go. And he was there for 6 months before me. So I just would talk to him a lot and how are the teammates, who's cool, who's funny, blah, blah, blah. Got to hear a bunch of inside scoop before I came. And then when I did get there, I was way behind on the plays, and that's always, Brady, that feeling sucks when you're learning a new program and stuff. So I was kind of slow, but Jake Dunaway, the other quarterback this year, I'm sure you know him, he was just from the day one, like didn't feel any hostility. He knew I'm coming in from Middle Tennessee. They picked me to be the guy to compete, and we just had that respect for each other. I didn't know him, but I knew he played in the program before. He's won some big games for him, and so I didn't treat him like he wasn't anybody. I just treated him like he could easily be the starter. I'm just going to learn from him, and when my time comes, I'll be ready. So he helped me with the offense a bunch, and that was just a fun summer learning that and getting a feel with all the teammates. So I kind of jumped into that season. I mean, I've only known these guys for like 2-3 months, and we're already in a game, So I just was kind of earning respect as I go. They've seen my highlights and stuff. They thought it was awesome, but you can't really have someone's respect from a previous school, your stats and stuff. So I just earned that slowly just by laying my body out on the line and trying to win games for them. And we had such a fun season. I think we lost to Cal week 3, which is understandable, but we only lost by like 11 or 10 or something. I think if we lost by 8 because we missed. I don't want to go into that, but yeah, so that was fun. And then Jace just helping me along the way, we just meshed well with the team. So that first year was just kind of getting a feel, playing football. Still had a great time. And then the next year was like, okay, we lost that year in playoffs, first round. And it was just like, okay, we won the Big Sky, but like that's not fun. We just lost in the playoffs the first round. Maybe the Big Sky is not great. You're just thinking about a bunch of stuff. Turns out the Big Sky is amazing. Amazing competition. Montana State, Montana. We earned hard wins, but sorry. Did I lose you guys or no?
No, we got you. We got you, brother. You're good. Yeah.
Yeah, we earned some hard wins, but when it came down to the hardest game in playoffs, we just lost. So that next year we were on a mission. We knew we were still going to be a 2-quarterback system going into the season. So, I mean, that preparation's different. We have plays that are designed for each of us, and it was very complex compared to just having a quarterback because we had to plan certain things. I would run in, and I still don't know how we made it work because it's not that first year. Like, I'm running off the bench and I have to do this play to get a first down. It's 3rd and 8. It's hard. I mean, that's hard. So that's one thing Jake was so good at is on 3rd downs, like if it's 3rd and 11, 3rd and 13, like he would find that seam and get us that first down. I feel like that was such a big factor. Like, I would have loved to be in on those plays, but that was his specialty, is just when it's 3rd and long, just dropping back and finding space and finding those guys. So we meshed so well with each other. We're great friends to this day. I could call him, ask him anything. And that was just obviously so important because without that connection, like I was saying earlier, hostility between QBs, it's toxic. It's not good for the team. It's just not fun. And so we wanted to have fun, and that's why we won so many games, and we had an awesome playoff run. This season was so special. We had tons of games where it came down to overtime, and I scored against Montana. That game was crazy. Montana, it's ice cold, first cold game of the year, and we're not used to it. We're from Cali boys now, Sacramento. So it's cold. These guys are from Montana practicing in snow, and I didn't play from like the 2nd quarter till the last drive of the game. They send me in. It's like 2nd and 4, and I get in there, fake a toss left, run in, score a touchdown. We go to overtime. I do that same play, score a touchdown. We win the game. Everyone rushes the field. We beat Montana. And I was like so not ready to go in. Like, I'm freezing. Feet are numb. Hand warmers don't work, you know? So it's just so many moments this year where me personally have grown. Just you can't always be the guy. You have to just respect when it's your time to give it your best. And it was just so fun. We won another ring, which is important. And it was unfortunate to lose that big of a score, 66-63. We gave ourselves a chance to win it. But Lindsey Scott, that guy QB, is phenomenal. So it was a fun game to watch. And yeah, I mean, that was the season. I went there, like you said, just being able to be with my brother. He's on full scholarship still. Like, that is the ceiling factor from it all. But even if it was just me, like, looking back, I would have still went probably. So it was awesome.
Yeah, that's cool. Montana, that's in is that in Missoula or is that in Bozeman? Okay,
in Montana.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, man, that Montana just sounds cool, the name of that state. But yeah, Asher. So you capped off a great college career, and now we were talking off air, battling through an injury right now, right? Rehabbing and getting ready for some opportunities coming up, right? So kind of talk to us about what you have going on right now, your training, just kind of what your schedule looks like right now as you're gearing up for some potential tryouts and looks and whatever could come from it?
Yeah, right now my mindset, I am just rehabbing, working on getting my full arm back to where it was, if not better than before. And I've done this same process before, so I know how it goes. And you guys probably know it's not quick. It's just day in, day out. You got to do something to better your arm and shoulder. So I'm just in that process right now. And I've been talking. We have from Sac State a few CFL quarterbacks, actually the Argonauts who won back-to-back Cups. The starting QB went to Sac State. Been on the phone with him a bunch. I have some good resources I could learn from, how to get in front of coaches and when the best time is, when these dates are. And so what I've came to learn, I'm not shooting for the NFL right now. It's not worth my time. If it happened, then that'd be great. But I'm not doing pro day. I'm just kind of being realistic, and I know I'm good enough. I'm too good to stop playing football right now. That's how I think of it. And I know I want to keep playing. I love football, and I just need that opportunity to put on pads and go out there, because I feel like I could compete with anybody when it's just playing football. It doesn't matter who. And so I'm just trying to get myself the best chance later in the year. August, October, there's some tryouts and throw rounds and stuff where I just want to get in front of coach, show him my stats, my film, and say, like, show him my resume basically. And as soon as the coach takes a chance on me, and it will be good from there.
That's good. Yeah, man. We'll keep chugging. Like you said in the beginning of the interview, like not every story is a Cinderella story. Like how when you threw the interception to lose against FIU. So like just keep that same mindset here. Like Cinderella stories don't happen, but like really good stories happen. It's just up and down, up and down, up and down. But you just keep kind of showing up, then good things tend to happen. We need to also connect you with our guy Drew Brown, who we had on a few weeks ago. He's a CFL quarterback. The Blue Bombers. Yeah, he's a stud. Yeah, for the Blue Bombers. Played at Oklahoma State and Hawaii. Lot of cool stuff there. But yeah, dude, it's a process, as we all know. Yeah. But before we kind of wrap this show up, something I always get geeky about just because of what I do, and Brady always rolls his eyes at me. But just going through what your like pregame routine is like, but also like your pre-throwing routine, what kind of shoulder care, if any, that you kind of implement before the game, and it's kind of like what a structured workout would look like for you as it relates to the quarterback position.
Yeah, that is good, because everyone has, it's like a snowflake. You know, no one does the same pregame, anything, superstition, music. It's always different with quarterbacks. Me personally, I don't like, I'm not listening to much music. Sometimes I will. Like, it's just, I don't like to be superstitious too much. I just get on the bus. I'm super calm, very mellow. I don't talk too much before games or even during games. I'm kind of more of a lead by example guy. And when I need to yell or use my voice, then I do. But like before a game, when I'm out there warming up, I like to just get stretched out by one of the strength people first, so I'm already feeling loose before I get out there. I don't like to stretch on the field. And for my arm, I just kind of sit at 5-10 yards and just like play throwing, whatever it may be, just throwing for a bit. And naturally back up like most people would. I don't like to overthrow before the games. I like to kind of keep that arm fresh. So I'm more like I get a light warm up, light workout, whatever you want to call it. But then like right before the first drive, I'm throwing some bullets on the side. And that's where I like to do it more close up to when I'm going to actually play. I've tried other ways. You know, you got to learn what you like. I'm sure you know. So I've done it where I've like way overthrew before a game. During like, I don't know if I could get this ball there. Like, I actually don't think I could throw this deep ball, so I'll move on. Like, that is not what I want to do. So I've learned from that, and I just like to keep it light and mellow. I don't do too much music or screaming, whatever. You know?
Yeah. Brady, what's that band you listen to? You're like weird chill bands that you'll put on. Those like rainbow
Kitten Surprise and like Mike. There's a lot of good bands.
What Rainbow Kittens?
Rainbow Kitten Surprise.
Okay.
It's a little on the weirder end, but they're actually from Boone. I didn't know that until I got here.
Nice.
Yeah.
They're not huge, but I like them.
Yeah, no, they're chill. I just give you a hard time because the name's funky. But I'd ask her. So something we like to do before we close up, we always like giving the quarterback or whoever we're talking to an opportunity just to give some advice to younger quarterbacks, whether it's a younger college quarterback, a high school quarterback, just like a 1 to 2 minute kind of word of advice that you would give to someone who was in your shoes 5-6 years ago.
Yeah, my advice is just to block out the noise. First and foremost, if you're listening to a bunch of people and what they say about you, your height, your weight, your physical attributes, then it's just, it could get in your head and change your confidence level. And that's so crucial. If you feel like no matter where you're at, if you feel like you could get on the field for whichever team and perform, that's where you want to be. You want to feel like I could play anywhere and whoever wants to believe in me, I'll perform for. And so my advice isn't work the hardest or do it. Of course, you want to work so hard, but it's just about mentally knowing who you are, what you're capable of, and blocking out people who say you can't do this and you can't do that. Because I've heard a million times I'm short, I should go D3, D2. And that's just not what I wanted. I didn't want to do that. So I just kept chugging along. And then another advice I would give is it's different with each JUCO because some are just not so pleasant, but some are great. I think the junior college route is phenomenal. Obviously, it's worked for me and my two brothers, so we feel that way. But I wouldn't just say, go to any junior college and go. You got to do your research on the QB situation, and you got to make sure that you're at least competing for the starting job if we're talking quarterback-wise, because it doesn't matter how good you are. If you're not playing, you're not going to leave there or be seen. So I think if you want to go the junior college route, it's great. If you didn't want to go to what the offers you had out of high school, you didn't get what you wanted, then just keep, like you said, keep chugging along. I like that. Just keep working and bet on yourself if you feel like it, and it could pay off.
That's good, man. No, betting on yourself is always a good word of wisdom. And just for you too, Asher, like coming back from injuries, you've probably already experienced it. Like there's highs and lows. There's times like, man, I feel good. Then there's times like, can I pick up a ball again? Just like from all the overhead athletes that we deal with. And I would say like for you, like you've already proved you can play it. Like you had 31 total touchdowns this year and 0 interceptions, so like anytime like doubts creep in, like this, like, man, F that, screw that. Like I'm going to play, like I'm going to figure out a way. I'm going to keep chugging along. Like, I don't care if it's in August, October, or sometime next year I get my shot, like I'll be ready, So like just whenever those doubts and thoughts come, just remember what you've already done and that you've already proved a bunch of people right, your family, people that believe in you, and that's enough proof that you need, right? And so you got who you need believing in you, so just keep chugging, and some good stuff tends to happen.
Amen. That was awesome. Well said.
But man, we appreciate you, man. That was good. That was good.
Can't wait to send this to my dad whenever it releases. I haven't told him yet. So.
Well, it was fun, man. Thanks for having you on, and hey, everyone watching, do all the YouTube stuff, like, subscribe, all that fun YouTube stuff, and we'll see you next time. Peace.